just redo this before. Let me pop this open here real quick. I said, so what I was doing, so I've got this kind of set. I've got some things I'm going to add in. We get more videos set up here, but I told you guys I was going to have a YouTube channel ready to go. It's almost ready. A couple of videos weren't done getting edited. They're going to get added up there. So that'll be ready here soon for you guys. But I just wanted to show that I did get a little bit of work done myself. And all right, so here's what I want to do, guys. Last week, everybody remember what we talked about? Most of you guys were on at least a chunk of those calls. So last week, what did we talk about?
I knew you were going to ask that. I knew it. Well, I know we started off talking about mentoring and,
Yeah.
I even looked at the notes last night. I knew you were going to ask this.
See, guys, this is the moment I'm about to introduce the guest that I brought on, and this is the moment where you're supposed to make me look good, like you actually pay attention to the shit that I talk about throughout the week. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so we talked about networking, we talked about mentors, we talked about your power, your core team, we talked about building relationships, building powerful relationships, not just online but offline, how to do all of those things. And, hopefully you guys sat down and you kind of created a list of your core group that you currently have. You created a list of the core qualities that you're looking for. You looked at, maybe created a list of those possible mentors that you would invite in, looked at where you're at right now and what you need to do to change and grow and everything else. So what I wanted to do today, guys, this was someone I was trying to, I've been thinking about having on for a while. She may not have known that, but I've been trying to, find the right moment. And then, so anyway, she's here with us today. This is an individual that I connected with, guys, got to be almost 2 years ago now. Like, it's so crazy. So a couple of years ago, we connected, and I think it's a pretty cool story. I don't remember if she posted or I posted something along the lines of, like, we started quoting cool song lyrics back and forth. And I think it started with Space Cowboy, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? So just on Instagram. And I don't know how she popped up on my radar. I honestly, I can't remember, but that's where it started. It led to a little bit of kind of business coaching back and forth because we both do it. We've both been doing it for a while, both been doing content for a bit, and we kind of became cheerleaders for each other some. So we've had some sessions back and forth together. We've done some business together. I wrote an ebook, again, almost 2 years ago now, and she wrote the majority of it for me. I just kind of gave her a bunch of thoughts and an outline, and she's a phenomenal author. She is incredibly intelligent. She's an amazing woman. She's been through a lot, her story as well. So I'll kind of ask her a little bit about her story. But she's been working online, doing it for a number of years. And so this is a relationship, someone I found online has turned into someone that I view as a friend, a mentor. I feel like we've kind of been able to mentor each other in a couple of key moments and help each other out. And it's all about, guys, those relationships really is for me, kind of one of the reasons I do it, as well as the fuel to get me to the next level in life. And so I'm super excited. So I'm going to go ahead and say hello to Miss Tara Atkinson. It's a pleasure to welcome you aboard, ma'am. Say hello to everybody. Everyone say hi to Tara.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for
Hi,
those
Tara. Hi.
wonderful words, Andrew. That was such an introduction. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. It's
absolutely
wonderful to be here. I'm so glad that there's so many of you who are like so ready to just absorb knowledge. Like, this is awesome to see. That's great.
So Tara, real quick, guys, Tara does, well, let me ask her, let her give a little background on what she does. And then what I want to talk about is kind of how she's gone about building up groups and mentorship and everything else. Cause I know some of you guys down the road are looking to possibly become coaches and mentors. But also understanding that step will help you create those relationships with other mentors if you're looking to do that and build better relationships, especially if they're starting online. So Terry, give us a quick little what you've done and what you do currently.
Sure. So speaking of being online for a few years, I have been a digital entrepreneur since 2002. well before we had Facebook or Instagram or any of these other ways of actually kind of networking. It was, you had MySpace, and then you had access to Wikipedia, and that was about it online. And it was a lot of faxing and networking events and actually in person. And you just happened to be able to email some big documents. That was about the only benefit of being online in 2002. So what I started out doing was I helped real estate developers utilize a government program to basically get the government to pay to build apartment buildings. And this worked out really, really, really well for me until the real estate market completely burst in 2008, at which point my youngest daughter was born with a bunch of medical issues. So I stepped back. And between 2008 and 2016, a whole lot of stuff happened online. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, we had so many more people entering the marketplace. So when I came back, due to divorce, due to having to kind of figure my life out again, it was a totally different landscape, and everything that I had known before was completely different. So it felt a lot like starting over. So what I started doing at that point was realizing you've got to jump in with what you know, who you know, and what are your gifts right here, right now. And it's about not having to wait until you become an expert, but it's about being an expert as you go and owning and knowing everything about what you do know and utilizing that to move yourself forward. That's what I started doing. Like Andrew said, I use Instagram a lot, build a community there, and I was able to shift that into building a Facebook group. I'm extremely intentional about the energy that stays in there. It's not about the vanity metrics of numbers. It's about who is in there and what energy do they bring so that I get to choose who I work with. What I do is a lot of mindset kind of shifts. We all have a lot of subconscious programming that has been put there based on our experiences, based on everything we've gone through in life. And sometimes it served us for a purpose at a time, but we're no longer in that purpose and time. So it's about shifting and moving forward and growing through that. So that's kind of what I do is I take a lot of the strategy that I do know about business, but I merge it with what is the mindset of that. I know that Andrew, he is a genius at that. And that's part of where we were able to connect. So that's kind of where I'm at. I tend to focus more on how can you use what you've gone through to move you forward. So that's me. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and she's great at that. So when we talk about, one of the things I talk about all the time with them, Tara, is selecting your niche and getting into it. So you've done that. So for a while, you were helping business owners kind of learn how to get themselves set up online, create a sales funnel, and do everything else, right? So guys, essentially the exact same thing you're doing here. Now within your group and a lot of what you do, you focus on a very kind of, your message resonates with a niche, right? And that niche is what again? Just so everyone can.
My niche has really become, it's people who are kind of going through midlife transition is really what I've niched down to. For some of us, midlife can hit at 30, and for some people, it doesn't hit until you're 55. Some of it's just a mindset, right? It's about how young do you consider yourself. I tend to help people who have gotten to a place where, divorce has happened, or diagnosis, or the debt is crippling, and now you're at this do or die place. And how do you move through that? That's right. Where I niche down to.
So she's taken it, and it's not necessarily the niche isn't necessarily a business, but it's a type of individual, which can still work, guys. Part of this is just understanding really well your target audience and developing your message to speak to them, right? And one of the ways that she and I have kind of resonated back and forth together is just her ability to be able to discuss things with understanding the target audience, or taking any audience and being able to dive into it. So, and that didn't happen overnight, the work that she's put in. So here's what I want to do, guys. Pick our brains, talk to us. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about kind of how we took our relationship offline and kind of built from that. But I want you guys to ask about relationship building a Facebook group, providing content and value in that group, honing in on that thing, take advantage, because this is what she does. This is what I've done, not just here with Blake's team, but in a number of other realms, right? Some of you guys, whether you're looking to become mentors or you're looking to find and connect with one online, or taking that relationship in another direction, now's the time. So if you've got questions, raise your hand, type it in there. you know, like it started with us. And again, I can't remember exactly how we connected. If she popped up on in my search, or like we've probably followed a number of the same entrepreneurs, and it might have come about because I had automated following certain people that were following entrepreneurs that I liked. And maybe that's how she popped in there. But, you know, she posted something about a lyric, I think, and I responded back. I think that's what it was.
It was a story. One of my stories, I had said, you know, hey, I'm Tara. I'm kind of reintroducing myself. Some people call me a space cowboy. And you said, that's cool because some people call me the gangster of love. And I was like, this is my person. Like, yes. It was about that connection, like, you know, randomly, but it was about knowing what your energy is. How are you showing up? Who are you being online? And how close is that to who you're being in real life? And I think that when you're talking about like transitioning it off, it was about that, having just that reality, that sense that how you were being in Instagram stories is exactly how you are in real life, which is what eliminates the screen, right?
That's important, guys, is so that when you're doing that, and guys, I'll have, so Tara, you've already got somebody asking about your group, and so that they can connect there. So we'll get all her social media contacts. And guys, if you find me on Instagram, you can find Tara as well, or you just look up, your Instagram is what, Tara?
What my name is here, Tara Talking. The name of my blog, my website, my podcast, my everything is Tara Talking, which kind of started because my brother helped me set up my initial blog back in 2006. And he was like, well, what do you want to call it? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, well, you're constantly talking, so let's just go with that. And so brothers can sometimes identify.
Stick with who you are. And that's a thing, guys. Own it. Some of you guys are worried about, oh, well, I'm not this or that or the other. Just be you. And the more authentic you are about that and about the journey, right? You don't have to walk in and say, I'm doing X, right? What you want to do is walk in and say, I'm building towards X and I'm developing this and I'm levered, I've learned from X, Y, Z. And that's why I'm able to talk about that. So, all right, real quick. So on Facebook, Tara, your group, are you the admin? Do you have someone running that for you?
I am the main admin. I have a VA, which is a pretty new adjustment for me. I am not one who's used to asking for help or having help.
I can attest to that. She typically overextends and she delivers. After my own heart. Yeah. Absolutely. Renee, you two would get along phenomenally well. And there's a number of you guys in this group that can understand that, but she's added in a VA, so that's good.
Yeah. But for the most part, my group is run because of me. I do all the posts. She will sometimes do, like, if I'm like, hey, put in some engagement posts for me, she'll go in and just ask some, like, hey, what's your favorite ice cream type of question. Just when we need to boost that engagement. But for the most part, it's 100% me. My group is really the top of my funnel. So it's very important to me to keep my energy in it. It's a great question. Right.
So this is, guys, you can use your page and your group, like she's talking about, the top of the funnel. Does that make sense with everybody when she says that? Does everyone understand what that is? That's one of the biggest things she uses for lead generation. So she creates her group and then creates this community and invites people in to share in the energy and the message that she's promoting. And then through that, she's able to then offer the products that she has that deals with coaching and everything else, business and personal development within that category, within that niche. So it's one way for organic lead generation, right? And then there's different ways to fill up that top end of the funnel, either organically or paid ads. You can run ads to get people into your group, right? Does that part make sense with everybody? Yeah. So that's why she's doing it. So Renee's asking, after first creating the Facebook page and group, if it's different than your normal followers. So when you're saying, Renee, normal followers, are you talking about like your personal page?
Yeah. So like I have my family and friends, but now I've created the new Facebook page. And
yeah,
there's only one person there and it's me,
So how do you start building that out is kind of what you're asking.
You feel like your family and friends, are any of them your ideal clients for the new page? Do you feel like any of them
No, I went completely off on what is near and dear to my soul and my heart, and wanted to build from that, because everybody, all of my friends and family on my normal Facebook page, they're all IT people or just direct family. Whereas my funnel is a completely different niche, and
which is totally cool, and it's an important principle to remember, guys, is that your personal page isn't necessarily indicative of your business in any way, right? And posting on your personal page isn't what's going to pay your bills, right? And it's the friends and family that aren't going to believe or aren't going to purchase because they're going to want it for free anyway. So,
right.
Even if they were in that niche, a lot of times it's kind of like, well, that's nice, moving on, So check this out if you want it. And then, because if they say, this is something I'd like to try out, somebody's going to ask for it for free. And maybe not you, Renee, but somebody on the page, one of your friends or family members going to ask you to help them or give it to them. And they'll say, it's just digital. Can't you just give it to me? No, this is my business now. This is like when I did carpet cleaning, right? No, I'm not going to come clean your house for free all the time. At some point, I need to pay the bills, right? So same thing applies here, guys. But yeah, they're two different things, right? So what are some key things, Tara, that you do to connect with your audience, to build your audience?
Your audio question was, how do you transition from your personal page to a business page and then to a group? So you want to have a business page, no matter what you're doing. There's not a lot of great organic engagement to pages. Facebook does not prioritize your page posts. If you ever are going to be running ads, you have to have a business page. So have it there. And if you are moving from that transition of having used Facebook as kind of a, hey, here's my dog, here's the food I eat, here's whatever, to trying to use it towards a business, you absolutely can utilize your Facebook, your personal page, to ask for referrals, to every once in a while post and say, hey, this is what I'm doing now. It may not resonate with you, but go check out my business page if you want, and refer a friend who it might help. So have a business page. From there, your group is where you're really going to start pouring your time, heart, love, soul, energy into. And all you're doing is talking to your ICA all day long. Who is your ideal client? Who are you talking to? What are you saying to them? What do they need to know?
And so, guys, when she's saying ICA, when I talk about it, I talk about your avatar, your target audience, your ideal client, whatever. I mean, you'll hear those, and it's almost good to hear different words being said, because other places you go, people talk about different things. So go ahead. Sorry,
I use a lot of terms that I guess.
No, you're good. And we all need to learn extra terms anyway. So you're solid. Go ahead.
Okay. So when I'm working on kind of how do I grow it, part of it is, who are you showing up as? Are you showing up as the expert? Are you showing up as the person who is so passionate about this business you're building? Are you showing up as an authority in your, selected realm? That's just how you start to grow it.
So I've given some of my thoughts, and Blake talks about it a little bit, about how to show up as the authority without necessarily being the authority yet. How do you leverage? How do you step in there, right? So, Alex, yeah, there's a difference between a business page and a group. Yeah, there's a big difference. So your business page, guys. So let me answer this real quick, and then Tara, I'll let you kind of answer that question. So the business page is, right now, if you log into Facebook. So if I log in, and this is the same for everybody. So I log in, the second post. So I've got mine, that's from a memory. There's one post here, and then that one's sponsored. The second post, if anybody, every single one of you guys log into your account, pull it up. The second one is an ad for somebody, somewhere. That post, which was sponsored, was run from this page, which is a business page, because the only way to run an ad, horrible logo, by the way, for mobile. They obviously haven't optimized. That's supposed to be their whole image. we talk about customization and optimization, like that doesn't make me confident that they have any clue what they're doing. Anyway, and then when we talk about targeting, guys, this is where we talk about targeting. This is an event management company out of South Carolina. Like, why the hell are they targeting me in Orlando? Don't waste your money targeting people that have nothing to do with your target audience, guys, because all they're doing is spending money on nothing. Like, understand what you're doing. Okay. Anyway, moving past. And if I'm an event management company, why is this my ad? Like, do I want to like show maybe a video with events or some, like, this is what we're talking about, guys, right? This is what we're talking about with understanding what you're doing and then putting out the right message. So anyway, you have your page. That's where I'm going to run my ads from. The group is along with my page, and I can get likes and get stuff there. I'm going to get more consistent interaction with my audience inside a group because Facebook's willing to promote groups, right? It's just the way they do it. They want you to spend money on your page, and they want people interacting with groups, as long as you don't get too political in groups, because then Facebook is, you know, big brother in their own way. And we're not getting into that discussion. So that's kind of what we got. Now, how do we kind of build that organically in that relationship, Tara?
So answering a two-part question was the first one was, how do you show up as an expert, as an authority when you don't feel like an authority, right? And that goes back into mindset 100%. So much of this starts to pull through, and this is where my group starts to really dig deep into some of these connections of who first told you the story that you're not good enough to show up knowing what you know. Where did you first start to learn these things? Because you have to be able to pull them out to know you are here on this call. You are automatically more of an expert for knowledge that you come and hear today. You automatically know more than the next person next to you, because you are working on learning and growing and becoming better every day. So that alone is going to set you apart. Secondly, how do you start to utilize what you know and who you know in order to move into that bigger place? That is where you can sit down and just start making a list of, start with people who you know, who you think are, you know, big business people, whatever your niche is, wherever you are going. Who do you know that has done something that you want to do? Start really absorbing, you know, what is your life? Who do you interact with? Who do you want to interact with more? And that's where I would say you can start to really look into what are some of your real life versus online. Then also, who do you follow online? What are you doing online? And just start knowing, like, who are your connections? That's
so
really
these were some of the things that I had last week. So we talked about who's the current core that you've got right now, who they are, the wisdom that you have. So this is different than like my network of geniuses, my core group, my Power Five, whatever you wanted to call it. This is different than just the people that are around me, right? This is kind of that next level and some of the training that we went through this last week, guys. And then I asked, so now create a list of who else can be plugged in, you know, people that I want to add, right? I talked about, you know, this little simple universal truth here, you know, universal truth of connecting. Your mom taught you everything you know. Make friends, play nice, tell the truth, help others, take a bath, do your homework, right? And then I talked about when I got into coaching and mentoring. So this may go to why you did it. And some of you guys that are thinking about getting to that point, maybe becoming a mentor. But Tara, when you have someone that comes to you and is looking for, right, for mentorship, so some of the people on here, as they're building up their group of mentors around them, these are some things that I said, you know, like kind of a little bit of do's and don'ts, right? And then on to the do's and don'ts of a joint venture we'll talk about. But these are some things that I said, hey, you want to key in on these when you're looking for a mentor. When you have someone that comes in and says, hey, I want some mentorship. What are things that you look for in a mentee or someone that you're willing to develop that kind of relationship with?
Sure. I think my biggest thing is, are you at a place where you're ready to be mentored? Are you ready to answer some tough questions about how you've been acting, who you've been showing up as? And are you really truly at a place where you can say, I'm ready for something different? Because if you want me to just sit there and be a cheerleader for you, I will do that 100%. I am here to cheer you on. I will be the yes girl in the comments. Like, yes, we can go do this. But that's not mentoring. When I take someone on as a mentor, I actually have a couple of different questionnaires they can go through. And it's about selecting energy. For me, most of it is, are you ready to be coachable, mentorable? Are you ready to say, I know a lot of stuff. I'm willing to admit that I don't know everything. And it's not that I know everything, but are you ready to say we can move through this together? So that's one of the biggest things, is being at a place where you're able to say, okay, show me a different way. Show me a new way. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to get me to that next level.
Good. Anybody have questions on, what, asking a mentor, what you should ask, what you should do, anything along those lines, or any thoughts about any of the stuff that we've talked about? Everyone's nice and quiet today.
Yes, we can go into David's question a little bit, starting with your personal profile. Yeah, and someone else had asked about, you can have as many pages as you want, you can have as many groups as you want, but you can only have one personal profile and everything goes off of that. So your personal profile is kind of the super foundation. Keep it clean. If it's not clean right now, if you have a lot of other crazy stuff, clean it up. Get rid of a lot of the public shares or crazy videos. If you are really wanting to be serious about utilizing your social media for your business. It doesn't mean that you have to completely make your personal profile void of personality, but how is it showing up? If I just went and looked at your public profile, would I know that you're a professional? Would I know that you're wanting to move into this? So from there, you can then definitely build your business page. What is your main business? I have to go in and clean up mine. I have probably 12, 13 different pages that I've started for different businesses, different ideal clients, different niches. But eventually you want to get it down to your business page that you're going to run ads off of, because then you start getting into, like the pixels. And like your brain can just explode when you start doing that. But having a group it can be public, but it can be more private. People want that intimacy with you. They want to know, who are they buying from? What are they getting? All of that kind of stuff. And that's where groups can really start to help you out with that. One of the things, Andrew, in the slide that you just shared, it's, the things that your mom taught you about telling the truth. You can really, truly be truthful and authentic with who you're being, how you're showing up online, on your page, on your personal page, on your group. That authenticity is one of the biggest assets that you can ever have. That authenticity is what allowed Andrew and I to really build a working relationship, because it came out of, I'm not trying to sell you, you're not trying to sell me. We're both just here sharing. Like, we have a lot of combined knowledge, and we found that, where he's strong, I'm weak. Where I'm strong, it's not strong or weak, but we fit each other's skill set into what
he's better at getting shit done, and I'm decent at initial ideas and bringing clarity to certain things. But yeah, it really boils down to, I've talked about before, Tara, I've mentioned to them, my circle, the people that I connect with, the people that I say, hey, I'm willing to have a conversation with and really talk to, and I want to reach out and go, man, let's talk about this, or I need help talking me through that. That list for me is fairly short, because the amount of people that are just, whether they're a flake in one thing or another, or it's just not them. What I see there, and after a conversation, it has nothing to do with anything else. And I go, what's going on? Whereas, having some commonality is important. Both have, kids and divorce and everything else. Yeah, sure. But it goes beyond that. So as you guys are looking for, bringing someone into that group, that goes to that core list that I talked about. There's different level of, okay, this person is only going to mentor me there versus this person is going to connect with me on a different level, right? There's different things that you got to be cognizant of, because especially all of this is being built for long-term. I didn't connect with Tara just like, hey, I've got something you can buy. We connected knowing that like we've done some business together. I know we're going to do more. I know there's going to be mentorship back and forth, right? There's going to be strategy sessions that we have that where I'm not expecting anything. She's not expecting anything. I'm not going to charge her. She's not going to charge me. We have those moments because we know that there's positive results all told. You've got to have an understanding of why am I going into whatever relationship I'm going into. That's a big part of that, right? So John, yes, especially if you've got a personal that mirrors your business page, that's always a benefit because people will look, right? And that goes to that authenticity. So if on your personal page, you're ranting and raving about politics or this or that or the other, then, and on the other one, you're super neutral and like, I never want to discuss this like that, you've got to connect it up, right? It's got to make sense. And yeah, so Lynn's answering correct there. So are you suggesting starting personal and monetizing that relationship? Terry, you want to answer that?
I don't think that that's what's being suggested at all, but I think that when it depends on what you're looking for. If you are looking to monetize all your relationships, then you will attract that. You will find that. You will find a way to do that. And if that's how you want to run your business, by all means, go for it. But it's when you're looking at different ways that you can network, people pick up on your energy, even online. If you are coming out, I get DMs all day long. Sure, some of them are from princes in Uganda who really want me to help them get their bank account sorted out. So I have to send them $400 and a cell phone card. But there are some DMs that people are like, hey, I liked this story. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? And I'm like, I don't know who you are from Adam. It's instantaneously, I can tell you want to sell me something. It's make something really authentic. I guess if I'm going to say that. If you authentically want to help them, then you will authentically grow networks and connections. If you are really, truly all about that next dollar, you will find it. You will find people who want what you have to sell. Is that truly authentic to who you are and what you want to do for your business? I guess that would be the question I asked you back.
Yeah. So we're talking, guys, obviously with the business to achieve some of your goals, there's finances included there. And so you run ads to get that. Absolutely. Right. Part of this is understanding. We're talking about different levels of different relationships, right? Charmel, this is your very first call, and this is kind of flowing off of what we talked last week about. So what we're talking about here is developing out relationships. You'll be able to see the recordings from last week, and I can understand being a little lost here, and so that's okay. And yeah, Gina. So we've got someone asking about brand new to social media, so we'll talk about it. What we're talking about here, as a business owner, there's several different types of relationships. Okay, so the first one is a person that I'm going to attract via my ad or something organic, and all they're ever going to be is a client. They just want to buy something. Great. I'm totally cool with those all day long, every single day. That's awesome. Then I've got someone that's going to start as a client and may turn into something more down the road, but who knows? Maybe they turn into, hopefully, a raving fan that will always stick around. So anytime I launch something, they go, I want to buy more of what you've got. Right? Some of you guys are thinking about developing something long-term and scaling to something big. It's important to develop some fans in that regard. Number 3 is someone that I just connect with for whatever reason through social media, because that's the world that we're now in. And I develop a relationship with them that may or may not include business, right? That is always going to be ethically and morally upright, right? Like we're not doing anything dishonest. But we create a positive relationship that can turn from cheerleader to possible, coordination on something, and who knows, but we let it grow organically because I'm not trying to force it. And then there's a relationship where I'm seeking a mentor. I need support, help, training, knowledge in a certain category. So I strategically go out to find it. And then there's the one where people are coming to me for mentorship, or they're coming just asking for money. So we're talking about a couple of different types of relationships here, right? Is that clear with everybody?
That's good.
Let me get back to kind of the regular view. So we're talking about different kinds. Now, Charmel, as you get going, obviously the funnel, the ads, the organic is geared towards I need customers that buy my products because that's how I pay my bills, right? That's the ones that I want. Now, the organic growth takes more time. So how do I build good organic relationships? David, you don't necessarily have to have developing out dialogue. Now, last week I talked about part of my training was, building joint ventures and going into it with a plan. So a joint venture partnership is like Tara and I have right now. She's got an audience and I've got an audience. And I'm not doing this in any way here, guys. I want to be real clear because this is recording and this is Blake's program. So I'm not offering, and Tara's not offering her coaching services here, right? But let's assume that's what we were doing, right? We would have had a conversation beforehand and said, hey, you've got an audience that I want to connect with, right? I've got an audience you want to connect with. What can we do together? Now, if I was developing that out, I would come to her and say, here's something that I propose. I would do the work ahead of time. If I'm looking for a strategic relationship that's going to turn into a financial joint venture, does everyone understand that type of relationship versus the other ones I've been talking about? So some of you guys that have said, hey, realtors, real estate is the niche that I want to go after with a partner program. So I would find someone that is kind of like Tara that maybe has a group that's a real estate investor or is a hard money lender or is a mortgage broker or is a title agent. And I would say, hey, I market to realtors, you market to realtors. I don't provide your services. These are my services. Here's what I propose for us to work together, right? Some of you guys that are going after pet services, maybe what you do is the same kind of conversation with a veterinarian. Some of you guys are going after personal trainers. Maybe you have the same type of conversation with, I don't know, gym franchise owners. You find something that connects people. Are there any questions on that and the differences in the types of people that you connect with on social media? It's not just you're going to give me money to buy my ebook, right? Is that clear with everybody? Okay. So that's kind of, I have a couple people doing this. Like, I don't know. Anybody? I mean, if you got a question, now's the time, guys. Don't be bashful.
Only question I have, like, really people ask out there on the Facebook for money? On the social media? Really?
Yeah.
I'm new to this thing. I'm shocked. I was like, wow.
We're not even talking about the ones that are like obviously fraudulent that are like, oh, you won this, send me blah, blah, blah. Or, like, let's get those because those exist in every single country around the world. They're all right. So let's put those aside.
I understand
there's ask for funds. Yeah. All the time.
Understand there's a page like when there's somebody passed away in the family, they don't have money, then you might do for the funeral service and things like that. But everyone's really
wow. So what was one of the things I said when you're talking about a mentor, right? When you're looking to gain a mentor, don't go in and tell them your sob story because nobody gives a shit.
No.
Right? But you'll get them as soon as you start building up an audience. People are going to ask, "Oh, you're successful. Come on, you can afford it. Can't you just give it to me?" Yeah, all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And honestly, ladies, I hate to say it. I'm sorry that I have to. The world that we're in, as you build up your audience, as you become more and more, you get things out there, you're putting out content, you're going to have to deal with assholes. I'm sorry. And so I apologize on behalf of half of humanity and a lot of them that aren't necessarily human in the way that they think and act and their behavior. And I'm sorry, but just be aware and move on and block them. Absolutely.
Yeah. Block them first before you comment.
What's that?
Block them first before you comment. There's no reason to send them out there. Just block
get
them.
Away. Yeah. Unless you're looking to sell feet pics. And if that's your thing, then great. But if not, then just move on. So anyway, but yeah, you'll get people that ask for stuff. Does anybody else have questions about just mentorship and building things up and building up a group, monetizing that group, right? I think so. David had asked for like a picture or reference. I'll share some of that later this week. Maybe we'll talk about some organic.
Question, So starting out, and I want to build a page and a group, obviously, to gather a community, a tribe of my own. I don't have the amount of content people would expect to see on a group. So someone will sign up for a group and then see, okay, that's practically the relict group. He will leave that group. How do I make him stay?
How do you make them stay? Create more content.
Right.
And you don't make them do it. You build a relationship, right, with them.
No. Okay. A poor choice of words, but how do I make the group sticky enough? I mean, do I just, before I even get to promote the group, do I pump in some content first?
I'd put a few things in there before. Like, I wouldn't invite someone to nothing. That's like inviting someone over to dinner and being like, as soon as everyone gets here, then I'm going to start cooking.
Right.
So
right.
I would add a little content ahead of time, something for them to do. At a minimum. Tara, go ahead.
I was saying, if you go into my group, one of the first posts that you would see is a video that I created a year ago. It was as I was sitting down ready to create my group, knowing what it was going to do. The first video was just, hey, I'm super glad you're here. And it was about the authenticness of, I really, truly am. Every person who comes in, I'm like, yeah, awesome. I'm so glad to have you. And
nice.
That video is the first thing. I'm glad you're here. Here's why you want to stick around. You can just set yourself, maybe you make 3 or 4 points and make a different video on each of them, get up to the top so that it's one of the first things they see, and then ask questions. People want to be, people want to know that you want their information back. So ask engaging questions and build, and it doesn't always have to be business related. Some of the questions I ask in my group are, hey, what song are you listening to right now? Because people want to engage. Relationships are how businesses are built, period. Like Andrew just said, there's different kinds of relationships, but that's how you build it.
And that's the key, is understand what type of relationship am I looking to build with this group? What's my end goal, right? So if you go back, if you guys have seen the recordings I did back in November on branding, direct response marketing, like my ads and my content where I'm looking to sell something, that's got to be my purpose if that's what I'm looking to do. If I'm looking to build like where I want some sales from my group, some organically, plus I'm looking maybe long-term, I'm looking to build it a little bit differently because I'm driving leads through my ads, then I can kind of play with that content a little bit because maybe I want to change the relationship that I have with them long-term. Because maybe down the road, I want to add in something else. Maybe I want to add in some services. Maybe I'm thinking I'm going to create some extra content, whatever it may be. Have strategy, right? So dog and pony shows, 4-legged creature jumping through flaming hoops, that will keep some eyes. Well, yeah, I mean, but David, it's got to be, I agree with you. You need to have things that are interesting, but it's got to be interesting to them and it's got to be relevant to you, right? And so this again goes to who is my target audience? Who is it that's joining the group? How am I going to connect with them? And what do they want to hear? Right? Like that's because otherwise nobody cares. Right? What we want to help you guys understand is if you understand your target audience and you can connect with them because you understand them, then they'll buy what you have because you're providing value. And that's what it's about. The partner program, what Blake's developed out, works with any one of these businesses. And if you can provide just that extra little connection, then, hey, I'm going to trust you to buy this because that makes sense to me, right? And then later on, if you go, hey, I've also got this, they'll go, okay, shit, sure, let's go, right? So
I have a question.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, Tara, I appreciate you addressing because today's question, I wanted to know, how do I start something as far as a group? And I was thinking about doing an intro video, like even I have an Instagram account set up for my business under my business page. I haven't really used it. It's like, okay, then I get stuck in do I do personal? Do I do my business page? And, it's one of those things where just trying to get rolling and thinking, well, maybe I do need a video that says, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. But like, I don't know how you said, like, you kind of keep that at the top. So when people do come back in, they see that first.
When you are the admin of a group, you will see that your options, usually it's the 3 dots on the side. If you ever get stuck, click on 3 dots on the side. there should be an option for you then to pin as an announcement. And you can keep it pinned for as long as you want. And that's what I do is I set it up there. What I do want to tell you is do a video and be real. Do not make it look like, you know, Hollywood came in and did this video, because it's more important that it's done. And people want to see that you're a real person. When I'm ordering something from Amazon, I know that I'm just a number there on Amazon. When I'm ordering something from someone who I got referred to who has an Etsy shop, and that person me back, now I'm a whole different kind of customer, right? I know that I'm a real person, this real person I'm ordering from. Whatever you're doing in groups, especially if you are wanting to create this relationship type of place, that's where your sales are going to come from. And what Andrew was just saying, the other thing I wanted to go in and say, when you're talking about what do you want to post, the posts that will make your ideal clients, your avatars, know, like, and trust you. Build your KLT, your know, like, trust.
Have you guys heard that know, like, and trust somewhere before? Maybe once or twice? Anybody that's been around any of these trainings? Yeah. Oh, good.
That's so in the videos, in your initial posts. And here's the thing too. Don't try to fake it till you make it when it comes to, don't act like you have a group full of 5,000 people when you know it's just you and 5 other people rattling around in there. Be authentic and honest about it. Hey, I just started this group. I'm so glad you guys are here as my, helping me build it up. Invite 2 friends in who might enjoy it. I say that in almost every video I say. If you know someone who needs to hear this, invite them into the group. This is the only place they're going to hear it. So it's okay to address the elephant in the room of the fact that it's a new group. It is absolutely okay to say that. We're building this together. You can utilize then your business page. I have almost 13,000 people on my business page, and I can go in and invite them into my group if I feel like they're a good fit for my group. I'm not just inviting a bunch of people who liked my page because of a post that I put up, or 10 years ago I posted something that went mildly viral, and now I have people on that page. They're not a fit for my group. It's okay to start small. It is okay to address the fact that you're just starting this group, that you're going into a new place. It has no reflection on how you are.
Yeah, own that, guys. Own the process. Yeah, just own the process and work through it and build it up. This goes to what we talk about all the time. It's great to get things going. You will generate revenue faster with ads. The organic will take time, but don't neglect the organic, right? I have a group that I worked with recently that did somewhere in the neighborhood of they were doing about 30 mil a year, all in advertising, all of it advertising. Their accounts, multiple accounts, because they were running from a handful of different pages, the accounts got slapped and disabled for a few different reasons, right? And it was just silly stuff here and there. But if all of it always comes from ads and you've done nothing organically, you're going to struggle. Now, what we did is we came in, we added a hell of a lot of substance to their Facebook page. We created a group that after a short amount of time had thousands of people in there. And even when their ad campaigns would get disabled, because it happens once in a while, they were still generating revenue through the group. Was it as much as when they were doing both? No, but it didn't stop them dead in the water either, right? All of a sudden, by the time all things were said and done, there's 20-some thousand people in that group. And there's thousands of people on that page, and they're getting content both sides. And so they're able to continue their marketing until they figure something else out, right? It's a combination of both, guys, right? You've got to have that long-term strategy. If you're unwilling to look at that, you're going to struggle. And if you think that the organic is going to happen like this, then I don't know. I've got a bridge in London I can sell you. I mean, you've got to be able to look at the whole picture and understand that there's going to be some growth involved. So on that note, guys, we've gone just about an hour. I've got a 1 o'clock. So does it take a lot of time to manage the group? Not really. It just depends on how you do it, how big it goes. Once it gets to a certain point, then you do what Tara does. You get a virtual assistant to come in and help out. I am going to be talking soon. I've got to balance things out, guys. So upcoming trainings. If you guys liked her, I may just invite her back if she's willing, because I know she's freaking awesome. So we'll pick a topic. We'll bring Tara back, get into some of the personal development side as well. She's great on writing marketing copy, so maybe we do one of those too. we're going to have a LinkedIn conversation in coming days. We're going to also get into working with a virtual assistant, finding a way to start to outsource certain elements, how that's important, why it's important. I've got a individual that I work with that's one of my mentors I've talked about, who's got a virtual assistant team of upwards of like 150 in the Philippines. I mean, all sorts of different things. Yep, you guys can find her on Terra Talking on Instagram. She's always fun to follow. Lots of different stuff that go on there. And yeah, guys, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys being on. Love having you. YouTube channel will be finalized. I'll give you guys the link for that tomorrow. We'll have some videos up there. But appreciate you guys. Message me if you need any additional follow-up. We'll do some Q&A as well later in this week. I am going to just letting you know for Friday, because normally these calls Monday through Friday, noon Eastern time. On Friday, I'm going to either have a recording or a guest host. It's Sierra's birthday, and her request was Disney, so we're doing Disney. That's my fiance, for those of you guys that are unaware. So that's what we'll be doing: roller coasters and animals at Animal Kingdom here in Orlando. So on that note, guys, appreciate you guys. Go out, have an amazing day. Find a way, no matter what's going on, to always rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are. Tara, thank you, my dear, for being on.
Thank you, Tara.
Oh, thank you guys for being here. This was so fun. I am honored.
Thank you, Tara.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Tara.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.